Hi, everybody. For those of you who are here on the live stream, welcome to Dishing with the Dietitian. I'm so happy you're here and going to join me on the live stream. And so let me know if you guys are here and if you can hear me. I'm thrilled to have you here. And we're going to talk about I do have a few people. How are you guys? So happy you're joining me on the live stream. And also a thumbs up would let me know you're here. That'd be wonderful. And I'm thrilled to have you because I know this is a hot button subject for many of us, particularly in the winter. Let me know if you guys are having a hard time with managing weight in the winter. And we will talk about things you can do to help you with weight loss, things that work and things that don't. I'm going to clear it all up. It is kind of a complicated subject. You are here on the exercise bike at the same time. That is rock star, boo. Go you. That's awesome. That's really good. Hey, JMK, nice to have you back. Totally. Why is it so hard in the winter? I know we tend to not move as much in the winter. It is 7:00. So welcome everybody to Dishing with the Dietitian. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Debbie Kravitsky. I've been a registered dietitian for over 30 years. Currently, I'm a clinical dietitian at the Massachusetts General Hospital's Cardiovascular Disease Prevention Center. I also have a private practice. I consult with many corporations. I've appeared in national publications such as Harper's Bazaar and Family Circle magazine. I've also appeared in television. It gives me my greatest joy and pleasure to help you to meet your dietary goals by providing current, accurate, evidence-based information. Today, we will shop, we will cook, and I will navigate the way. So let's get started. So many people say, my metabolic dial, that rate at which I burn calories, just came to a screeching halt. And so I saw this book, How to Boost Your Metabolism. This pill, this is supposed to do, it's going to boost my metabolism. Is this something I should do? Let me know if this is ringing any bells with you. Why can my neighbor, who's my height, eat the same foods and she's losing weight and I'm not? Or why can he do this and get away with it and I can't? Have you ever experienced that? I totally understand the frustration. So let's take a look at the science so we won't fall prey to marketing schemes or perhaps to people who are saying things that just aren't based on facts. Let's see in today's live stream, let's discuss what works and what doesn't. And if you've been managing your weight, let me know what's working for you. Hi, Richard. How are you? The mustard with dill was great on the salmon. Yay. Oh, and you cooked it in your toaster oven instead of the microwave. That's awesome. The mustard with dill I do in the oven as well, Richard. So that is totally great. I'm so glad. Richard also reminded me of a great thing that happened to me the other day. Somebody said I had told them a recipe about cooking salmon in the microwave, and I do that with oil and with Trader Joe's seasoning. If you look at the video on when it's too hot to cook, you're going to find that recipe. And they said I had told them about the recipe in a class, and the next day that somebody came in and said, I have to tell you, I didn't believe you. I didn't think it was going to work. And it did, and it was delicious. So I'm so glad when you try these things. Thanks, Richard, for sharing that. It's just wonderful. When we talk on today's topic about metabolism, it's important that we have a clear understanding of what it is, so that we know what we're talking about and we're all on the same page. Many people talk about it as something that you can manipulate or do by drinking green tea or taking a pill, and it's really not that simple. It's a very complicated issue. So I'm going to try to make it as clear as I can, and you'll let me know how I'm doing. It's really important to understand that metabolism is in every single cell. It's a series of chemical processes, and that in turn allows you to take the calories that you eat and turn it into fuel to keep you alive and to keep you functioning. And we burn calories in 3 different ways. Through your basal metabolic rate, the calories required at rest for your heart to pump, your lungs to function, and so on. It's with the calories required for you to be doing absolutely nothing, just the calories for your body to exist. And then we burn calories when we eat. It's called the thermal effect of food. And then we burn calories through physical activity, the energy that we output. So it's important to take a look at each one of these so we can have a better understanding of what we can do to help us to reach our goals. Some people want to lose weight, some people want to gain weight. You can let me know where you are along the spectrum. It can vary, but the rate at which you burn calories varies from person to person. It can vary in the same family, and genetics plays a key role. You inherited a certain metabolic rate, so at least you know who to thank. It will also vary, this metabolic rate of yours will vary as you get older. Unfortunately, the calories you burned when you were 20 are not going to be the same as when you were 50 or 60. You might have noticed that. I noticed I don't get away with half as much as I did when I was younger. Really unfair. But as we age, no matter what, our metabolic dial slows down. That's depressing. And gender. Men have more muscle. They rev at a higher rate than we are, than women do. And so you burn quicker than we do. Men have an easier time of losing weight than women. So that's really wrong on every level. Let me know if you think that as well. So what can you do? And what's going to make it harder? And what's going to make it easier? Let's take a look at the science. All right. On the metabolic dial, they just know that your metabolic dial, influenced by your age, your genetics, your gender, this accounts for 60 to 80% of the calories you burn. That's incredible, right? So it's important to see where we can't manipulate that. What can we manipulate? Are weight gain powders healthy for you if you're trying to gain weight? It depends on what's in them, JMK. It's a great question. I wouldn't recommend. I like to do things with real food. I think it's a much tastier option. However, if your appetite is diminished and you need to gain weight, then take some of these supplemental drinks or powders, because it will help you to get a lot of calories in a little bit of food because your appetite isn't so great. Just make sure that they haven't added a lot of sugar. They're not high in fats that will impact your cholesterol in a negative way. Just make sure they're made from healthy ingredients. Always, your mantra is always, no matter what it is that who you are or whatever your goal is, your mantra before eating anything is to take a look at that label, and your mantra is read it before you eat it. Always take a look at the label. And for information on label reading, take a look at the video on how to read a food label. That might be helpful for you as you have a guide as to when you're deciding whether or not a weight gain powder is appropriate for you. But thank you for asking, okay? It's great to have you on. So let's take a look. Your basal metabolic rate, accounting for 60 to 80% of your calories, something you just don't have any control over. Really, it's influenced by your age, your genetics, and your gender. Also impacting the calories that you burn is what you do to get through the day. This is just a matter of physics. At a certain height, at a certain weight, at a certain age, at a certain speed or incline, whatever you did that day, it is what it is. It can't be denied. Those are calories that you burned. People say to me, does it make a difference? Should I front load my workout with aerobics, or should I do more strength training? You need both. Aerobic exercise will burn fat, and you need to get rid of the fat. It will slow down your metabolic rate. So make sure you become a lean, mean fighting machine. When you build muscle, it revs your metabolic rate. Not a huge amount, but it does. And aren't you looking for any advantage that you possibly can get? So building muscle will rev your metabolic rate. But here is the tricky part. This is why this is not such a clear-cut area. It's an area that we're still learning, and a lot is still left to be understood. When you rev your metabolic rate by increasing your muscle mass, sometimes you get more efficient as you get more fit at using the calories you burn. And so as you do that, you become hungrier. You're going to have to override that in order to let the increased muscle serve to help you to rev your metabolic rate. So just know that. I'll show you how to eat more for less. that will help you to curb that appetite that will be increased as a result of more muscle mass and you being more fit. So it will work, but you've got to override it. Was that clear to everybody? Make sure you let me know. Increasing your muscle mass. People say to me, I eat pepper all the time. Why? I hate pepper. I don't like it at all. But I've heard that things like pepper and certain spices and coffee will rev my engine and give me that boost so that I'll have that extra edge. It's really insignificant. If you like these things, go ahead and have them, but don't do it for weight loss because the amount is going to be significant. So don't do that. People say, I exercised, so I got my engine running, and it's going to be going all day. So I can eat a little more today because of that. So sorry to tell you this. Don't want to burst your bubble, but that metabolic rate of yours will rev for about an hour or so after a good workout, an intense workout, but then that stops. So you can out-eat your workout in one bite. You still need to have a healthy diet. So make sure that you watch that. And speaking of diets and losing weight, if you lose too fast, as technology's changed, we are wired like cavemen. So we are wired to hold on to fat so we can survive times of famine. That's one theory. If you lose if you lose weight too quickly, you do a crash diet, you say, oh my gosh, I'm going to a wedding, I've got to get into an outfit, or I'm going here and I'm going to a reunion and I haven't seen these people in forever, and I got to quickly get this weight off. When you lose weight quickly, your metabolic dial, you as a caveman, thinks you're not eating enough, and your metabolic dial slows down to accommodate that. So the answer is low and slow. Stay the course, but lose weight in a slow, steady stream to give your metabolic dial a chance to readjust. Your goal is to keep your engine running efficiently, not for it to think it's in a state of semi-starvation or famine, but to keep it running efficiently so that you can get this weight off and eat. So the way you do that is, number one, I've got 4 tips for you. Number one, make sure that you eat a healthy diet. Eat foods that will give you more food for less. By asking yourself, does this food have a lot of water and fiber? Hi, Stina. How are you? Nice to have you on. And can you discuss set point? Great, Richard. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a step back, everybody. But make sure you have a healthy diet and include foods that have a lot of water and fiber. Things like non-starchy vegetables. I'm asking you, Pete, do you guys like broccoli, asparagus, green beans, cauliflower? Look at all the water and the fiber in zucchini, in spinach, in tomato, lettuce, cucumbers, onions. I hope I'm hitting some that you guys like. Brussels sprouts, cabbage, carrots, onions, tomatoes, lettuce, kale, eggplant. Look how many. Sugar snap peas, snow peas, unlimited, sprouts, as long as you're not in a sauce. Now, when it comes to set point, Richard, this is a great question. Your body, instead of focusing on changing your metabolic rate, focus on changing your weight set point. Your body gets comfortable at certain weights. If you gain weight and you stay at that weight for a while, your body will settle in there and it will fight to keep you there to survive. You need to change it. You need to be consistent. You need to go slow in your weight loss effort so that your body can readjust. And then once you get that weight off or you get where you want to go, maintain the healthy habits to stay there, and then it will readjust. So you don't want to be going up and down and up and down and up and down. It will fight to stay higher. Make sure that you go low and get to where you want in a slow, steady pace, and that you then stay there. Hi, Ved. How are you? Been hitting the gym every day for a month. Good for you with clean eating, 1 cheat meal per week. But my weight seems to be plateauing. Yes. So it's a great, you guys have great points, and this is the beauty of a live stream. I'm thrilled to have you on. So when you started your weight loss efforts, that you were at a certain body mass, it required a certain amount of calories to maintain. That was your basal metabolic rate. And it also required fewer calories to create a deficit to promote weight loss. Now you've lost some weight. Good for you. But you means you have less of a body mass. So less of a body mass requires fewer calories to maintain and even fewer to continue to create a deficit to promote the weight loss. So what can you do to move that needle and get you off the plateau? You've got to make a change. One thing you can do is to learn how to eat more food, but for less calories. Through this caloric density, asking yourself, does this food have a lot of water and fiber? So fill half your plate every time you sit down to eat with vegetables. The water in the vegetables will fill you up. The fiber will fill you up and the water will give you no calories. So you'll get volume without having to pay for it for calories. That's why I think these vegetables that I listed, they're non-starchy, are unlimited as long as you're not in a sauce. Also, before you eat, have a glass of water. It will help to fill you up. Sometimes we confuse hunger and thirst, and then perhaps you won't eat as much. But fiber does a great thing. It really does fill you up. There was someone, a patient of mine, who told me that they take actually a psyllium fiber supplement before they go to a party, and it's unbelievable. They just don't have any desire to eat. They're full. It does. Fiber slows down the absorption of food, and it will keep you feeling full. So definitely increase your fiber and have some water, but include these foods that have a low caloric density. In terms of fruits, by the way, fruits that are calorie dense, meaning a little bit will give you a lot of calories, are pears, bananas, mangoes, and dried fruit. In contrast, go with those that have a lot of water. Watermelon, like its namesake, will give you a lot of water and fiber, but for fewer calories. Any of the melons would be great choices. Peaches, plums, berries, apples, oranges. This would be the way to go. So here is 60 calories worth of a banana. 1.25 cup strawberries are also 60 calories. You're going to be satisfied after you eat 1.25 cup strawberry. You'll go 120, 180 calories before you think you ate a banana. It's a calorie game. Go where you get more food for less. Make sure that to move the set point, you also include regular exercise. It's a minimum of 150 minutes a week of moderately intense aerobic exercise. So what is intense mean? It's speed times incline. So if you're on a treadmill, you get on that treadmill, you dial up the speed, you dial up the incline, you just dialed up the intensity. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for intensity within a safe heart rate. And then you combine it with strength training to rev that metabolic rate of yours and to do it regularly. Don't rely on it solely for weight management. Do it for many things. Exercise is medicine. And we can talk another time, if you'd like, about the multi-benefits of exercise. But definitely you need to keep that muscle tone. It will rev you a little bit more. It will burn a little bit more calories than if you didn't have muscle. So it's a good point, and you really want to do it. You also want to make sure that you get a good night's sleep. Lack of sleep will raise cortisol, and that's going to make sure that your leptin, the hormone that would have told you that you were full, is going to be diminished, and your hormone ghrelin that would have told you that you're hungry is going to go on the rise. So what happens is whenever your body is stressed, either you're worried about something, or you haven't had sleep, you're fatigued. Stress is no good, because to your body, wired like a caveman, stress means predator. And so you change hormonally as you prepare to stay and fight this predator, or to run like the dickens and get out of there. It's called a fight or flight response. And your hormone and your ghrelin, those ones that would have told you that you're hungry or you're full, they switch places, and you crave the fuel you need to either stay and fight or run and get out of there. So you crave refined carbohydrates, cheap fuel, and fats. It's just what you don't want to do. So make sure that you get a good night's sleep, and that you really manage stress. So take a look and see what is stressing me out. Maybe to help you deal with that, you talk about it with a friend, you journal it, you use meditation, you good sleep habits so that you have a regular routine at night to get you disconnect from these from your mobile device, and you just make sure you have a dark room, and you maybe listen to some music that's calming so that you get a good night's sleep. If you fill your day with exercise, that exercise will also help you to sleep better. Let me know if that's you. If you get a better sleep if you've been exercising regularly. I know for me, I totally do. And that's why I'm dressed like this. I wanted you to know that I am walking the walk. I had a class today, a Pilates class. Let me know if any of you have done Pilates. It was pretty awesome. It was very fun working on your core, and because you really want to have good balance and be strong. So make sure you look at that. So my fourth tips for you would be to make sure that you get a good night's sleep, that you exercise regularly. This is not in order. That you manage your stress. And by the way, aerobic exercise is the number one stress reliever, as it physically changes your brain from the back to the front of the brain, the frontal lobe, the cortex, and that you include in your exercise regime both aerobic and strength training. It's really important to understand what works and what doesn't. So the spicy foods give you a little kick, but it's really insignificant. People ask me, I think I should eat 6 meals every day because every time you eat, it revs your metabolic rate. It really doesn't matter. Go with what everybody has an exercise personality. Some people like to exercise in groups. Some people say, "No, that's not for me. I like to do it on my own." We also have a dieting personality, things that work for us and things that don't. So find what works for you. Sometimes when you eat many small meals during the day, you end up eating too much. So I suggest to you that you track your intake. Use some of these apps. They're wonderful. I like Lose It, My Fitness Pal, Rate Your Plate by the CDC. They're great apps out there that you can use to track your intake and have a realistic assessment of what it is that you're eating. Many people think they're eating one thing and they really don't, not really close to the mark. So you really need to weigh and measure your foods to have an understanding. Hi, Janice. How are you? It's all great. Pilates, yoga, walking, personal trainer, and and a wonderful dietitian. Sorry, everybody. Janice now became my favorite. Um, but no, I really love all of you. But Janice, it's so great. It all works together. And that is what makes a healthy lifestyle. And that really is the key. So wouldn't it be wonderful? Sometimes I surprise myself by having a moral compass. I could sell a juice and say, this will do it for all of you. Or I could, and many people would buy it if I said, this green juice right here, this is your key to weight loss. Everybody buy this and drink this. But really, that it doesn't work. So don't fall for these things because they're just not true. We don't really understand the unique differences in metabolism between each of us, except for the fact that we know it's based in genetics. We know that people who are stressed tend to eat more. We understand that. There are those who can't eat. Their stomach gets tight in a knot and they just can't eat. But there are more people who, when stressed, look to food for comfort as it raises serotonin and dopamine, the hormones that would have made you feel better. And as stress, as I said, your hormone leptin that would have told you that you're full can go on the down low, and ghrelin, the one that tells you that you're hungry, will surge high and lead you to eating more. So you really need to be a partner in all this and to understand the processes so that you know what works and what doesn't. People ask me, is there a certain time of day that I should eat? And I would say studies are looking like the answer might be yes. I'd rather you eat when it gets dark out. Studies show, some research is showing that when it gets dark out, your metabolic dial, that rate at which you burn calories, slows down. It goes into sleep mode. So I'd rather you eat breakfast like a king or queen, lunch like a prince or princess, and dinner like a pauper. People who eat a lot at night tend to gain more weight. They eat more at night. And sometimes we rationalize. We say, you know something? I didn't eat anything all day. I was running around. I was busy. I didn't touch it. And so now it's nighttime and you overeat. You don't even know that you did because you're not really accounting for it. That's why tracking your intake with one of these apps is a great idea, because it will give you an understanding of what it is and it will make you more accountable. If any of you are tracking your intake, let me know if it changed at all what you were eating, because you didn't want to have to type it in. So let me know, because that makes a big difference. So know why it is that you're doing this and be a partner. Your metabolic dial, it is what it is, and it will unfortunately get slower as you get older, but it doesn't mean it's a futile project. The idea is create this lifestyle that's sustainable. Those people who do crash diets, those on The Biggest Loser, when they did that intense program and they lost a lot of weight in a short amount of time, and yet because they had so much to lose, they still had significant weight to go. When you visit them a year later, their metabolic dial has really come to a screeching halt because their body thought they were in starvation mode, and their leptin, the leptin, the hormone that would have told them that they're full, it's virtually gone. And that won't return for these people for about 6 years, and that's a long, long time. So if you go slow and steady, you give your metabolic dial, you give your engine, your body, a time to adjust so it doesn't have to slow down and go into starvation mode. As we lose weight, our metabolic dial does slow down. But if you learn how to eat right and maybe change your exercise routine, if that was the other thing, Ved, if you have been exercising, doing the same routine consistently, sometimes your body can go on autopilot. It'll just know what you did. Sometimes changing your routine a little bit by either changing the whatever you were doing totally, or changing the intensity, or adding 5 minutes, or perhaps adding some strength training, that can change things. Hi, Steinler Consulting. How are you? Green juices. New word on the street is not to take anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen or curcumin, which many of you know. Green tea after exercising if you want to build muscle. I haven't really heard that. My advice is after doing, it depends on your level of strength training. If you're doing just strength, some light strength training, I don't think it makes a difference. But if you're doing strength training to the point of fatigue, where that last rep, you just feel that burn and you say, oh, just get me through this. I'll be good the rest of my life. You feel like you have to make a deal to survive. That strength training, that to intensity strength training, then you need to make sure that you have both a source of carbohydrate and a protein, one to replenish your glycogen stores. You emptied your tank of energy, you need to replenish it. Carbohydrates will replenish your glycogen stores, and protein to regenerate the muscle. But I have not heard about not having a green tea or anything after. I will look into that. Let me know what you find. Absolutely, Janice. Love your sustainable is always my mantra. Right. And that's why you're doing so great, whether exercise or diet. You can do it at home, and you don't need any special equipment to exercise. Just using your body and your own body weight, you can do it. So, and the beauty of today's world is that we have access to YouTube, and also on YouTube, when you're not auditioned with a dietitian, you certainly can Google workouts. Or if you have a mobile phone that connects to the web, you can go in your store. I have an Apple phone. I go on the Apple app store, and in the app store, I put in workouts, strength training, and it'll give me a strength training workout. Or I'll put in Nike training challenge, and I'll get workouts anywhere from 7 minutes to 15 minutes. So there are many ways that you can get exercise in both aerobic and strength training, with no gym membership, and no special. You can do it at home. One of the things I find about going to the gym, and maybe you do too, is sometimes I find it very motivating to be with other people who are working so hard. And I realize, look at me, this is so much fun. I get caught up in the fun of it. Sometimes my schedule is just so crazy and hectic that getting to the gym is tough. So it's easier for me to work out at home. So I like to have options on both front, but whatever works for you, as long as you have this lifestyle, you are consistent. Totally right, Janice, you nailed it. That's exactly what you're looking. That's what you're looking for. So understand that there is no special fix. I wish I could sell you some sexy juice or something. It would probably make me a fortune, but it really wouldn't work anything so well for you. Just make sure that you don't let stress get you down. That you have that you have good sleep habits. It's really key. And that when we look at people who have not only lost weight but kept weight off consistently, these are the things that they have found that these people have done is they've kept this as a lifestyle. They didn't say, I got here and now, yahoo, I'm going to party. And they don't say, they keep exercise as a regular part of their routine, and they just eat better because it feels better. Tell me how you feel when you eat well. I know I feel better because I know I gave my body good, clean fuel, and I totally feel the difference. Same thing when I exercise. If you've been exercising regularly and you don't, all of a sudden, tell me, don't you miss it? Don't you feel the difference? And people say to me, I like to have a cheat day. It just helps me to stay on track. If you need a cheat day, go ahead and have a cheat day. Will it derail you? Absolutely not. One day won't do it. As long as it's all about resiliency. Get right back up and get on track. People say to me, I went out, I ate because I wanted to, or I was at a party, or it was a holiday, whatever it was. I ate all these things that I haven't eaten in a long time. I couldn't believe it. I got on the scale and I am up 5 pounds. One night, I am up 5 pounds. Have any of you had this kind of a panic and you just can't believe it? You didn't really gain 5 pounds, just so I can tell you. It's either you had foods that are high in sodium and that salt is holding your fluid and that's weighing in, or also keep in mind that for every gram of carbohydrate you hold 3 grams of water or fluid, and that is also weighing in. So get right back on track and lose that weight right away. If you lose new weight, it's like you went to the bank and you went to the teller and you get your money nice and easily. If you continue, then those extra calories will get stored as fat. It's like it went into the vault, harder to get out. So that's why it's all about what is healthy for stress eating. What is healthy for stress eating? My friend wants to know. It's a great question, Janice. So the reason why we eat when we're stressed, and we tend to eat, we tell me if this is your friend, but many people, when we're stressed, we go for foods, comfort foods such as carbohydrates like potatoes or cookies or ice cream or things that have fat and sugar in them, because they raise a neurotransmitter in our brain called dopamine and serotonin, and the dopamine gives you a high, gives you a rush. So you self-medicate by having things that will help you to feel better, and those are those foods. The problem is they're not great foods for weight loss. So when you're feeling stressed, you really have to have the courage and the honesty to look and say, what is getting me stressed? And you want to deal with that stress with non-food. Otherwise, you're going to keep that habit going. So think about, what could you do? Could you listen to music? I know if I listen to Bruno Mars and It's Raining Men, I'm in a whole new world. So maybe music would be a helpful way to de-stress. Listen to some podcasts. I know Oprah has a great podcast. I listen to those all the time, and they're wonderful. I remember I learned on one of them. She had a guest on, and one of them was saying how whenever you think life is not going your way and you see the glass is half empty, just broaden your view and see there's a picture next door. And I totally love that, because isn't that true? Sometimes we get caught in the moment and we don't take a minute to take a breath, collect ourselves, and just look a little wider and see the whole picture versus just one focused aspect of it that we can get worked up on. So practice that, because I think that's huge in learning how to reframe and to say, what can we change and what can we not? Journaling helps you to do that. Talking to a friend, a real friend, not a friend who yeses you to death, but a friend who'll tell you what they truly think, and maybe show you something from another angle that you didn't think of. And then you say, oh, maybe that's what was in somebody else's mind, or that's what was going on. I never thought of it from that side. And it will help you to deal. But exercise is a better way to relieve stress. Listening to music, journaling, meditation, reading a book. It's like going on a journey. Brushing your teeth. Nothing goes with mint toothpaste. And taking a nap if you're tired. Going to a movie. Exercise. Change your environment. It'll change your behavior, and exercise will help you to relieve the stress. So I hope that helps your friend. But having food, not a great idea. If you do have to have anything, veggies, veggies, veggies. But always ask yourself the hardest question of all, and that is, am I really hungry? Or am I bored? Am I tired? Am I stressed? Do I have to do something? I don't want to do it. I'd rather eat. It's a much more fun activity. What is it? And if the answer is I'm not really hungry, then you need to do one of these other things, such as the exercise, the book, the brushing of your teeth, and so on, listening to music, journaling, meditating, so that you will put in another activity. And the more you substitute a new activity, the more it will become habit. And you'll start to create that healthier lifestyle because the other one wasn't getting you where you needed to go. So I hope that helps you because it's really important. We live in a very stressful world, and it's really important to be able to deal with this stress and not have to turn to food and to stuff it. So it's an important thing. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's an important one to address. So I hope your friend found that helpful and can do this. So I just wanted to make sure, because there's so much out there about metabolic rate and what works and what doesn't. Should I eat all these meals? Does it matter if I go low carb or high carb? In the end, it doesn't matter, but I'd rather you. I think when we talk about something called the microbiome, and you can look at my video on microbiome, that I think that having fiber will make a big difference, as the healthy bacteria in your gut will support weight loss. So how do you like that? So fiber is the way I would recommend, and veggies for sure. Sometimes if I'm hungry, I have a walk, take out my walk, and I'll saute some vegetables. Let me know if you've ever thought about doing that, because it totally works. It's yummy. Many times there'll be family around, and they'll come up to me. My kids will come up to me. Oh my gosh, Mom, that smells good. Can I have some of that? And that's just what I want. That's perfect, because veggies, 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 veggies. So that's the way to go. So make sure you go with my 4 things: that you reduce the stress, you get a good night's sleep, that you eat a healthy diet, and you include regular exercise, which includes both aerobic and strength training. So a minimum of 150 minutes a week of moderately intense aerobic exercise, and include strength training at least twice a week. But you can definitely look to some of these apps on your phone, and they'll give you workouts, which is great. Or go to your local gym, ask your trainer to maybe set you up with a plan so that you can include strength training. I had somebody, as we're all genetically different, I had a patient who said, I know you said twice a week and blah, 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 but I actually found that when I do a whole body workout, every time I go, she goes about 3 times a week, it's really made a difference. This person found that when they switched from doing more aerobic, they had been doing aerobic exercise for quite a while and having a healthy diet, made some successful dietary changes. So was in striking distance of where she wanted to be, but the needle just wasn't moving. And so she decided to just try by having more strength training and a little less aerobic. She kept the aerobic, but it wasn't quite as aerobic heavy as it was strength training. And by that manipulation for her, she lost 6 pounds. Food stayed the same. So it can have a profound impact. Your exercise is undeniable. It's just a matter of science. You burn a certain X number of calories. They are what they are. But make sure that you do understand that there's no substitute for a good diet. You can out-eat your workout in one bite. So make sure you keep this as a healthy lifestyle, meaning not something that doesn't have to be perfect, but something that is sustainable. You can always have something that you don't think you should. Go ahead. I think it's more stressful to not. Just make sure you have it, you enjoy it, and you just move on. As long as it's the exception rather than the rule, we're all going to be fine. So I hope this has been a helpful video for you. I'm thrilled that you've been joining me. Your comments have been really wonderful and helped to enrich the discussion. If I'm not hearing from you, I'm going to wish you all a good night. I definitely want you to get a good night's sleep. And I hope you have if you haven't yet, I hope you've had a great dinner. And I can't even tell you enough how much it is that you have been joining me on the live stream. I really love it. Thank you, Richard. I'm so glad this has been helpful for you. That is really awesome. And Janice, you too. You guys are, as I would say, the bomb diggity best. So really great to have you on. Thank you. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Hi, Stanler Consulting. Thank you for another great show. Awesome. Well, you guys helped make it. So thank you. And I will see you in 2 weeks, if not before, on Dishing with the Dietitian on the next live stream. As always, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel and it interests you, please do so by hitting the red subscribe button. You also might want to hit the bell, the notification button. So when I put up new videos, you will get notification of that. And if you did enjoy this live stream, the thumbs up button does help me. And if there's something that you would like me to do a live stream on, I'm always welcome to hear suggestions and happy to do that on topics that interest you. So here's to another great night ahead. And thank you for joining me on Dishing with the Dietitian. I will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Thank you for joining me.